if you're honest, you know that there are seasons in a Christian's life, in a believer's life, in someone who really is trying to follow Jesus, but there's still seasons in this walk that we feel that God is not as close. We feel God is separated from us a little bit, or we just don't feel God, right? And we can all, if you're honest, I would hope you're honest. We've all came and gotten into those places or into those seasons. Um, and I've heard it said before, if that's the case, you can rest assured it wasn't God who moved. Today, we want to look at five ways we drift from God. Five ways we drift from God coming up. What's up, everyone? My name is Reynaldo Ramos, and we're at VineMedia. We just really desire to partner with people, and we really just want to see believers grow in Jesus. And so, if you haven't already, we would love for you to hit that subscribe button. Join us. We do weekly videos, weekly content. We do tips and tricks videos. We do videos where we recommend things, applications, and resources. And then we do videos like this, just topical sort of videos. Again, our desire is to kind of help and walk people alongside of people to grow in Jesus. And so, if you haven't, we would love for you to subscribe. Check us out on Instagram, and just join us as we all in this together in journeying to get closer to Jesus. Again, today we want to look at ways in which we drift from God. Right? How do we drift from God? And quickly, I want to give you five ways we drift from God. Okay, and it's important, right, to recognize the drift, because if we don't recognize the drift, what happens with the drift? It happens slowly, and before you know it, you look and a small what maybe could have been small separation ends up becoming a bigger separation. Look at what Hebrews 1 2 says. I know that says 119 on the screen. It actually is Hebrews 1 2. It says, "For this reason, we must pay attention all the more to what we have heard so that we will not drift away." We have to pay attention, right, to the word. We have to pay attention to what Jesus has said, what God has spoken, so we will not drift away. So, how do we drift away from God? 5 steps, 5 ways, and you can do all of these things, or you can just do one. And again, we start this separation from God. Number one, and how we drift from God: neglect your time with God. That is a perfect way to drift away from God. Neglect your time. Do not have prayer time. Do not have time in the word. Do not have time of solitude alone in God's presence. Do not have time with other believers where you can grow and ask questions. Do not have time in community and fellowship. Do not do these things and neglect your time with God. And this is an easy way to start drifting away from God. Number two, how do we drift from God? If you don't like your circumstances, blame God. It's a real easy way to start drifting from God, where no matter where we are or what's happening in our life, we look to God and blame Him rather than looking at our responsibility in a situation, rather than looking at what God is perhaps trying to do in a certain situation. Really, what this comes down to is not understanding and not trusting in God. Number three, hang around bad influences. This is a Very easy way to start drifting away from God. If your circle, if your close um, circle that you're living life with is dr- pulling you away from God, then you are going to drift from God, right? Um, a very famous verse, First Corinthians 15:33. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. So we have to understand that we are the sum, right? We are the average of the five closest people that we hang around with, that we walk with. And so, and this is not to say that we don't ever befriend or get close to someone who's not a believer. Don't hear that. This is instead saying, um, if someone is, if you feel like someone is taking you away from God, you need to realign yourself. The next thing, number four, how do we drift from God? Give into temptation. Give in to what our flesh wants. Give in, and this is so difficult. I know. Give in to anger. Give in to sexual misconduct and promiscuity. Give in to rage. Give in to whatever it is. You fill in the blank, right? Um, if we give in to those temptations, soon enough, it's just going to become normal, right? And that takes us away from God. And number five, how do we drift from God? Love the world more than you love God, right? Love the world, love the things of the world. Or another way I could have said this, especially in today's climate where we're at in the world, is we can um, mistake the things of the world or the things of culture, right? The American things, we can mistake those things for God or for the things of God, and they're not, right? The American dream isn't it's not a bad thing, but it's not a biblical, like it doesn't come from the Bible. It's not inerrant or infallible, right? And so if we love things or we love ideologies more than the theological truths, then we will drift from God. This happens politically very often. People are way more interested in ideology than theology nowadays. And that is a very dangerous road to be walking on. And so, if we love the world more than we love God, then we will drift from God. Then our heart is in those things that we love. And so I just want to encourage you greatly. I want to encourage you to um, do the opposite of those things that we just spoke about. That you would spend time with God. That you would, in bad circumstances, still worship and thank God and have an attitude of gratitude, no matter what is going on around you. That you would have people in your life that would build your character, that would build you up in the faith, that you would fight temptation instead of giving into temptation, and that you would love God more than you love the world, because that's First John 2:15 says, do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, then the love of the Father is not in him. And so we don't want to have any of those things um, creeping into our lives. And so I just encourage you. I pray and I hope maybe there was some sort of conviction, maybe one or two, three, four, five, all five of those things are something that you've experienced in your life, or maybe you're in that season right now. We just really want to encourage you to push forward in drifting to God and not from God. Want to end this video also by plugging our website and our merch. So if you go to VineMedia.com, you can see the VineMedia merch. We've got a lot of things. We got some hoodies, we got sweatshirts, we got t-shirts. This shirt right here that I'm wearing is one of them. all of the gear that you see there is made by us, designed by us. And so it helps us and it supports us. And so we'd love for you guys to check it out. If you like anything, we'd love for you guys to make a purchase and support the channel and support us. Everything that we get, we put back into buying equipment and things like that. And so we would love for you guys to support us. We've got some new things on there right now and new things coming up. So please check out our store at VineMedia.com. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Again, we really pray and hope that you would drift to God and not from God. Until next time, we hope that you stay connected to the vine. We will see you next time.